Germany is a real puzzle, a genuine dilemma among the nations of the modern world. It's the undisputed economic engine of Europe. Without it, the continent would be just a shell of its former self. We're talking about the fourth largest economy globally and the third largest exporter. Its industries are legendary for their strength, quality, and durability, outclassing most countries in fields like space technology, medicine, and even weaponry. For years, it's held the third-place spot worldwide for patent registrations, and in the European Union, no major law gets passed without Germany's nod. But here's the strange part. For all its power, Germany is a nation without real prestige. It isn't considered a superpower, and it doesn't have a veto right at the UN Security Council. Even weirder, it doesn't have nuclear weapons, even though German scientists were instrumental in their conception. Just think back 70 years ago, and the mere mention of Germany struck fear into the hearts of nations. It was a country that invented every weapon imaginable, from stealth aircraft and ballistic missiles to advanced submarines, tanks, and artillery. The world's deadliest arms often had German origins, and many of the most revolutionary scientists, especially physicists, were German. So, what's the secret behind Germany's apparent weakness? Why doesn't it have nuclear weapons? And more importantly, why isn't it a superpower? Let's dive in and unravel this story from the very beginning. To really get it, we need to hop in a time machine and travel back to the mid-20th century. The world was teetering on the edge of annihilation, and at the center of it all was Germany, led by a certain mustachioed leader, embroiled in a global conflict. The story starts with the rise of the Nazi regime, which rapidly transformed Germany into a fearsome world power. During World War II, Germany was actually ahead of its enemies in the race for nuclear energy. The Uranium Project, or Urane Project, was launched in 1939 to explore the potential of nuclear fission. This was all thanks to groundbreaking discoveries by German physicists like Otto Hahn, who first demonstrated nuclear fission in 1938. The project was led by the brilliant Nobel laureate, Werner Heisenberg, the man who inspired Walter White's pseudonym in Breaking Bad. The goal was to develop nuclear technology and, if possible, build a bomb that would pave the way for world domination. However, the project was plagued with problems right from the start. The German war economy was stretched thin. All the resources, energy, and brilliant minds were being funneled into building tanks, planes, and submarines, not into theoretical physics. On top of that, there was intense internal conflict and rivalry between competing research groups. Each team was pulling in a different direction, like a lost ship with its crew rowing against each other. To make matters worse, Germany suffered a massive brain drain. Scientists like Lise Meitner and Albert Einstein either fled or were expelled. Some historians even suggest that Heisenberg and his colleagues, horrified by the ethical implications of building a bomb for the regime, might have deliberately slowed the program's progress. By 1945, as Allied forces closed in, the German nuclear effort had produced little more than theoretical papers and a few small, insignificant experiments. The contrast with America's Manhattan Project was stark. The US had mobilized thousands of scientists and poured billions of dollars into their program to build the bomb first. When Germany surrendered in May 1945, any hope for a German nuclear program was buried for good. The end of World War II was a massive turning point, not just for Germany, but for the entire world order. The country was in a state of absolute devastation. Cities like Dresden and Hamburg were reduced to ash and rubble. The streets were like open graveyards, a horrifying scene of destruction. The Allied forces occupied Germany and carved it into 4 zones, determined to prevent it from ever threatening world peace again. The Allied Control Council, established in 1945, imposed strict limits on German industry and science. Nuclear research was completely forbidden. Allied teams, like the Alsos mission, scoured every inch of the country, seizing nuclear materials and detaining scientists. The 1947 peace treaty envisioned a permanently demilitarized Germany. When the country was officially split, West Germany was born in 1949 with very limited military capability. The Paris Agreements of 1954 allowed West Germany to join NATO and rearm, but only under strict conditions. It was explicitly forbidden from producing biological, chemical, and nuclear weapons. West Germany voluntarily renounced these weapons to earn the trust of the new Western Alliance. Meanwhile, East Germany, under Soviet control, faced the same restrictions as a member of the Warsaw Pact. These agreements created the framework that has confined Germany ever since. In 1968, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty was signed, and West Germany joined in 1975. This became a cornerstone of the New World Order. The treaty obligated non-nuclear states to give up any ambition for atomic weapons. In return, they'd get access to peaceful nuclear technology, like reactors for energy. West Germany was one of the most compliant nations, eager to sever ties with its Nazi past and prove to the world it could be trusted. Communist East Germany also signed, though its foreign policy was dictated by Moscow. As a frontline state in the Cold War, facing the Soviet Union, West Germany was under constant threat of invasion. But instead of building its own nuclear arsenal, it relied on NATO's nuclear umbrella, specifically American nuclear bombs. Under NATO's nuclear sharing agreements, hundreds of American warheads were stationed on West German soil. With its security guaranteed, West Germany could focus all its energy on rebuilding its economy, repairing the war damage, and bringing life back to its cities. Places like Frankfurt and Munich were transformed into global financial and industrial hubs. Even today, it's estimated that between 20 and 30 American nuclear warheads remain in Germany, at Bukel Air Base. This might be one of the cleverest arrangements since World War II. On one hand, Germany has honored all its treaties and doesn't possess any nuclear weapons of its own. It has kept its word. But on the other hand, Germany remains armed to the teeth with nuclear capabilities. It's like publicly declaring you're an unarmed civilian, while secretly having a team of elite bodyguards protecting you at all times. As they say, all's fair in love and war. Germany's lack of its own nuclear weapons is a major obstacle to being seen as a superpower. But the issue is more complex. A superpower needs a combination of military, political, and economic dominance. It also needs ambition. Think of China's ambition to reclaim its influence, Russia's desire to restore its imperial glory, or France's efforts to maintain its presence in Africa. This kind of ambition is something Germany lacks, or perhaps actively avoids. It seems to prefer staying in the shadows, following the principle of walking close to the wall to stay out of trouble. If you look at other defeated countries from World War II, you'll see a similar pattern. Japan is a perfect example. It rose to become a global giant in technology, invention, and science. Yet, politically, its voice is barely heard. It has almost no prestige on the world stage. This is a stark contrast to pre-war Japan, which was a feared military power that invaded and occupied its neighbors. What happened to Germany is essentially what happened to Japan. The defeat of Nazi Germany didn't just dismantle its military, it shattered its very identity as an independent global power. The country was split in two: West Germany under Western influence, and East Germany tied to the Soviet bloc. This division, which lasted for 40 years until 1990, turned it into a puppet state. The reunification of Germany restored some of its sovereignty, but the treaty that made it possible, the 2+4 agreement, once again formalized its non-nuclear status and limitations on its military. So, while Germany's economy roars, its political and military profile remains deliberately low. It has chosen a path of economic leadership over geopolitical dominance, a decision rooted in the ashes of its past. It's a modern giant, powerful and influential, yet forever bound by the ghosts of history. Thanks for watching. If you found this interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into world history and politics. See you next time.